Hello everybody, Eric again. Like and subscribe. Here we go. Let's read about Never Again Association. Never Again Association. Polish. Strawozeni Negdi Wysedge is a Polish anti-racist organization based in Warsaw. The organization has its roots in an informal youth group that was active since 1992. It was formally founded in 1996 by Marcin Kornak, a social activist, public life commentator, as well as a poet and songwriter who collaborated with independent rock bands from the age of 15 due to an accident. Marcin Kornak lived with a physical disability. Since Kornak's death in 2014, the organization is headed by socialist and political scientist Rafał Penkolski. The organization's work scope includes promoting multicultural understanding and contribution to the development of a democratic civil society in Poland and in the broader region of Central and Eastern Europe. Never Again is particularly concerned with the problem of education against racial and ethnic prejudices among the young. Never Again is not linked to any political party. Objectives. The major objectives of the Never Again Association include breaking the silence and raising awareness of the problem of racism, xenophobia, building a broad and inclusive movement against racism and discrimination for respect, inclusivity, and diversity, eliminating or marginalizing racist, xenophobic, and anti-Semitic tendencies in various spheres of life. The organization's activity has achieved broad national and international recognition. It received endorsements from, among others, Jan Korski, Marek Elman, Simon Wiesenthal, as well as from Barack Obama and Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge. Activities. Since 1994, Never Again has produced a regular publication in the form of Never Again, Negdi Wysedge magazine. The magazine is focused on countering intolerance, fascism, racism, and xenophobia, providing information and analysis on hate crime, and on extremist and racist groups operating in Poland and in the west of Europe. Nowadays, it publishes articles in the Never Again, Negdi Wysedge Zine. The organization closely monitors racism and discrimination on the ground and created the most extensive register of racist incidents and other xenophobic crimes committed in Poland, the Brown Book. Never Again provides information directly to journalists and researchers interested in the problem of racism and xenophobia. It has consulted numerous programs on the national and foreign television, among others, the BBC, CNN, Euronews, ARTE, as well as assisted in writing a number of articles for the national and international press, such as The Guardian, The New York Times, Le Monde, Die Transenston, and Gazeta Wyborcza. The organization has provided expertise to institutions such as the Parliamentary Committee on Ethnic Minorities, as well as consulted and influenced legislation on issues of racism and xenophobia. In 1996, Never Again successfully initiated campaign to include a ban on fascist and racist organizations in the Polish Constitution. Never Again has cooperated with international organizations, including the Council of Europe, the United Nations, the European Union, and the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. It has actively participated in international networks, including Football Against Racism in Europe, FARE, United for Intercultural Action, the International Network Against Cyber Hate, INACH, Helsinki Citizens Assembly, HCA, and the Anti-Fascist Network for Research and Education, ANT, Anti-Fanact. In 1996, Never Again organized a campaign with the slogan, "Let's kick racism out of the stadiums," employing the Polish Football Association to act against racism in the sport. In 2012, ahead of UEFA Euro 2012 in Poland and Ukraine, Never Again launched one of the most extensive anti-racist campaigns in football, as part of the Fair network, of which the organization is a co-founder. Poland's first black international player, Emil Olosodobi, endorsed their network. Never Again has launched the Delete Racism Project to combat racism and anti-Semitism on the internet, as well as conducted high-profile educational campaigns in the field of popular cultures such as music against racism. Among the activities of the organization is promoting diversity and respect in cooperation with prison personnel and inmates. Since the mid-1990s, Never Again is the first organization in Poland has offered non-material support to individuals who desire to leave fair rights circles. In 2018, after over a decade of lobbying, Never Again convinced the e-commerce site Allegro to hold sales of items bearing Nazi symbols. A team of Never Again volunteers reported sales of over 1,000 such auctions to Allegro, which they took them down. While such items are illegal in Poland and prohibited by Allegro's terms of use, prior to Never Again's activities, the sale of such items on Allegro were widespread. Since 2021, Never Again and OLX, Poland's largest ad platform, have partnered together to monitor and delete sales of racist, fascist, and anti-Semitic propaganda items. Through event partnership, the organization supports and promotes initiatives that are in line with its mission, profile, and activity scope. The organization supports and promotes through event partnership the initiatives which are in line with its mission, profile, and spirit of activities. Never Again will participate in commemoration of the Holocaust and in combating Holocaust denial. See also Never Again. Bye for now.